Hi you guys, it has been a while, but welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Kendal and this is where I talk all things bookish. It has been quite a while since I sat down and filmed a video or vlogged or did anything that had to relate to YouTube. I had kind of took a small break, which was about a month or a month and a half, because I just kind of hit a creative wall and I didn't really feel motivated to put out anything. I didn't know what to put out, and honestly I think life was just getting so chaotic that it was just so much easier to not do it. But I am glad to be back. I'm hoping to at least do a video a week throughout the summer and then pick up a little more during the fall and maybe towards the end of the year. But thank you to those who have stuck around and just supported me and been so kind and thoughtful about me taking a break. But we're getting right back into the swing of things, and we're going to talk about all the books that I plan to read in the month of June. So summer is a kind of crazy, hectic few months for me. On top of working, I am trying to do some summer classes in college this year, and I also have a babysitting gig that I've taken on. So it is quite busy. I'm running around, I'm doing a lot of things. So hopefully audiobooks are going to be my best friend. Hopefully I'm going to be able to read at work. And hopefully just, get to enjoy the summer of hanging outside, reading, swimming, doing all the fun summery things. So there's quite a lot happening in June as well. There are some book clubs that I am a part of that I'm going to be participating in, and there's also a little readathon happening. So the first thing that I want to mention is the book that we are going to be reading for my Patreon book club. If you don't know, I do have a Patreon called The Dreamy Dragon Den. The link is down below if you want to check it out. I have sprints every week. I do a monthly movie night for my top 2 tiers, and for the top tier I do a monthly hangout that usually includes some trivia with a winner and a prize, or some type of game that has a winner and a prize. So it's very fun. We have a lot of just fun times over there. We have monthly book clubs and seasonal readathons. So we just have a blast. And the book that was chosen for us to read this month is Dreadful by Rozakis, I believe is how you say her name. This is a book that just came out in May. So I am super excited to pick this up. I also have been really looking forward to this book. I got a NetGalley arc of it, which I didn't get around to reading before I got it, but it just sounds amazing. As most of you know, cozy fantasy has really drawn close to my heart and become one of my favorite genres now. So that's exactly what this one is going to entail. And when I saw the spine of this, you guys, I had to pick it up. It has this beautiful black sprayed edges with these white little skulls and some little flowery details. And I don't really know how to do this justice without reading what it says on the back, but I do want to point out that Olivia Atwater, who is the author of the Half a Soul series, and Heather Fawcett, who wrote Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies series, also blurbed this book. So that already has me hyped. It says, it's bad enough waking up in a half-destroyed evil wizard's workshop with no eyebrows, no memories, and no idea how long you have before the dreadlord whomever shows up to murder you horribly and then turn your skull into a goblet or something. It's a lot worse when you realize that dreadlord whomever is you. Gav isn't really sure how he ended up with a castle full of goblins or why he has a princess locked in a cell. All he can do is play along with his own evil plan in hopes of getting his memories back before he gets himself killed. But as he realizes that nothing from the incredibly tasteless cloak adorned with flames to the princess is quite what it seems, Gav must face up to all the things the dreadlord Gavrax has done. And he'll have to answer the hardest question of all: who does he want to be? All I know is that somebody mentioned a moat squid, a garlic festival, and a dark lord, and it just sounds really fun. I know that Titan Books has never done me wrong with a cozy fantasy, and I'm just itching to get to this one. I think it's going to make for a fun read, and it's going to make for a great discussion. The next book that I plan to read was already on my radar, so it makes it even more perfect that it's part of Liv's Patreon book club. She also has a Patreon as well, and her patrons picked One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware to read. This is the new Ruth Ware. It just came out and it's supposed to be very tropical, islandy vibes. So I'm hoping that it gives like those dark mystery vibes, but with summer as well. So we're following Lila, and she has just had a rough go of things. She is trying to do things for her job. I think she's trying to get a doctorate or some kind of degree, and it's just not going her way. And her relationship with her boyfriend Nico is kind of on the fritz. So they decide to audition for this reality show called One Perfect Couple. And they go through all of these auditions, and they finally get in, and they are taken away to Ever After Island, where they are going to have to compete with 4 other couples in order to win the money that you get for being the perfect couple. So after the first challenge, they all go to bed. They're all pretty mad, you know, probably whoever won they didn't think should have won, something like that. But then all of a sudden this big storm hits overnight, and they are basically stranded on this island. They can't get off, their cell phones aren't working, they can't get in touch with the crew, and they are just going to have to help each other survive. But Lila finds out that this reality show is not just a show. Like, people are actually willing to do life or death when it comes to making it off this island. Me and Ruth Ware kind of have a little bit of back and forth history of me either liking her books or me not liking her books. So I'm interested to see if this one is going to be one that I like. I have high hopes for it. I really hope that it's just full of those suspenseful things that I'm looking for. I love a good competition, and the fact that it's like a reality show twisted sounds really interesting to me. This is also another book that I already had on my radar, and I had picked up and bought it because it's so beautiful and sounds right up my alley, and it ended up being one of my friend's Patreon book club picks. So my friend Heather over at Books and Heather started up a Patreon, and her first book club is taking place in June, and her patrons chose The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I have not read a Stuart Turton book yet. I do own the 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and I know he has another one out, but I haven't picked that one up either. I've heard like really mixed reviews. I feel like sometimes people look at this book or look at his writing as very pretentious and hard to understand, but I'm just gonna go into it not really expecting anything and just keeping an open mind. But what really sold me on this book was that the author Will Dean said that this was Midsummer meets Station 11 meets The Mist meets a fresh post-apocalyptic murder mystery, and it just sounds amazing. Also, the colors of this one just scream out summer to me, and then it has this really pretty orange coral-ish color spine, and it's just literally everything. It also has like a yellow, bright yellow cover and a map on the inside, so I was already intrigued. Outside the island, there is nothing. The world was destroyed by a fog that swept the planet, killing anyone it touched. On the island, it is idyllic. 122 villagers and 3 scientists living in peaceful harmony. The villagers are content to fish, farm, and feast, to obey their nightly curfew, to do what they're told by their scientist. Until, to the horror of the islanders, one of their beloved scientists is found brutally stabbed to death. And then they learn that the murder has triggered a lowering of the security system around the island, the only thing that was keeping the fog at bay. If the murder isn't solved within 107 hours, the fog will smother the island and everyone on it. But the security system has also wiped everyone's memories of exactly what happened the night before, which means that someone on the island is a murderer and they don't even know it. Sounds fun. Sounds like a really great time. To me, it kind of sounds like Knives Out, but make it dark and make it scary-ish. So we'll see what this one has in store. So my beautiful friend Elise over at Literally Elise started up a book club that is mostly science fiction based books, and she just started it. It's called the Libronauts, and it's the cutest thing ever. I absolutely love it, and I'm super excited because I feel like sci-fi is definitely a genre that I can find myself getting into and enjoying, and so I'm glad that she's opening this up so that I can just kind of explore that sci-fi side of books that I have never read before. So since I was encouraging Elise to definitely do this book club, she asked if I would be willing to be her first co-host for the first month that she is doing it, and so that will be this month in June. And we will be discussing this book on July 1st at 7 p.m. And she has a Discord and Instagram and everything that I will leave links to down below so that you can join us and come chat with us about science fiction. So I'm really glad that she picked this one because I feel like this is a very popular author, or author that some people have wanted to read but haven't tried yet, which is basically me. I have owned another of his books and I just haven't got to it yet, but we are going to be reading The Marriage Act by John Marrs. The thing that I like about his books are that they are very thrilling. They could be thrillers, they could be sci-fi. It's just very, very unique, and I love that when I find an author. And I can't wait to finally say that I've read a book of his. So this book is taking place in Britain, and the government has become really strict over there, and they have been pressing this law called the Sanctity of Marriage Act, which basically encourages people to be married and make that normal, and you will be punished if you choose to remain single. And we're following 4 different couples in this novel, and we are trying to learn how hard it is, you know, how hard marriage is, especially when you have a government who is, you know, watching everything you're saying, watching what you're doing, trying to make sure that you know what it means to love your partner and obey them, and like, they are getting strict. So it's definitely going to be very, I feel like, uncomfortable to read at times, and also probably scary because it sounds like something that could happen at one point in the near future if the government ever got out of control to do that kind of thing. So it's going to be an interesting read and definitely an interesting discussion. And of course, we have the Pride and Prejudice readathon that is going on. I will be hosting this readathon with 3 of my absolute best friends: Liv from Liv's Library, Rachel from the Bestie Book Sleeve, and Elizabeth from Little Life of Books. This readathon will be taking place June 24th through the 30th, and we have some exciting things planned. So basically in this readathon, we are having you pick a side. You are picking either Pride or Prejudice. If you pick Pride, you are basically Darcy and following his prompts that are based off of quotes from him, or you are doing Prejudice from Elizabeth, which are based off of quotes as well for her prompts. You also have the option to do all 6 prompts together, and doubling up on prompts is okay. You can literally do whatever. We'll also be buddy reading Pride and Prejudice, and anybody is welcome to join in on our buddy read, and we will be doing a discussion on Discord. We're also going to be doing a movie night on Saturday, June 29th at 9 p.m. And that is Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be watching the 2005 version with Matthew McFadden and Keira Knightley. We'll also be having some reading sprints on Rachel's channel, The Bestie Book Sleeve, on Monday, June 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Liv's channel at Liv's Library on Friday, June 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rachel is also doing a exclusive book sleeve that is just going to be in the biggie size only, but it has such a cute design. You have to go check it out. And we're also doing a giveaway. We're doing a Pride and Prejudice themed box, which will include a copy of Pride and Prejudice, a tote bag, a book sleeve, and a book corner made by Rachel. That is the exclusive design for the readathon. You will also get a puzzle, a lip balm, and mints, and all of this is Pride and Prejudice themed. All you have to do is go over to our Instagrams and follow and like and save, and you get a bonus entry if you share it into your stories. So if you want to participate and check it out and get to know more about what it is, definitely head over to our Instagrams and look at them. But I will have the link to the Discord down below, and all of the information is there as well. So I'm going to be using all 6 prompts to read during the week of the readathon, but I am going to be doubling up on the prompts as well. So I'm going to be reading 3 books, but all 3 books will cover all 6 prompts. So the first book that I'm going to be reading will be covering the rom-com prompt and a heartwarming book prompt. Both of these are from the Prejudice prompts, which is Elizabeth's team. The rom-com comes from the quote, "What a shame, for I dearly love to laugh." And the heartwarming book quote is, "Well then, your hands are cold." And that's when she and Darcy reunite with each other at the end of the movie. And I'm going to be doing a reread of Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have been wanting to reread this one for a while now. After sitting on all of her books and having read all of her books, I really think this one is still probably my absolute favorite, just because I feel like it was very relatable and I just loved the characters in this one so much. And yeah, I'm just super excited. I'm going to be tabbing and annotating it and just taking my time with it. So I'm looking forward to rereading this. And I'm sure that you've heard what this book is about because it's been around for a while. But we are following Augustus and January. They are both writers and they are going on vacation to try and write books and write different things than what they normally do. January is very much a rom-com, happy ever after person, and Augustus is very much a I'm killing all my characters, it's going to be a sad kind of book person. So they're just very different from each other, but that is kind of what is drawing them together. So they make this deal to help each other out, and January is going to take Augustus on these rom-com like montages that kind of inspire him to write a happy ever after, and Augustus is going to take January on these trips that is going to help her kind of dive into her deeper side so that maybe she can write the next great American novel. Thing that I love the most about Emily Henry's writing is that she goes there and she goes deep into her stories and deep into the plot, and it's not all about the romance. We get to watch these two people grow and become different people or better people than who they were at the beginning of the book. So I'm so excited to revisit a favorite. The next book that I'm going to be reading is going to cover the magical element and the 5-star prediction prompt, which are both under Pride, and that is Darcy's team. So the 5-star prediction is in remembrance of the famous hand flicks that Darcy does, and the magical element is from the quote, "You have bewitched me body and soul, and I love you." So the book that I'm going to be reading for that one is Nightweaver by R.M. Gray. This book came out last year, and I've been dying to get to it. It sounds right up my alley. There are pirates, so that makes me feel like summertime is around the corner, and it's got those fantasy magical elements that I love, and I've heard nothing but good things so far. It says, Violet Oberon had never stepped foot on land. 600 years after the Nightweavers claimed human lands for their own, the ocean is a haven for 17-year-old Violet and her family. Notorious pirates of the Western Sea, the Oberon clan are undefeated in battle, until an underling murders Violet's brother, and she discovers there are monsters more fearsome than the Nightweavers that have taken them captive. When the son of a wealthy Nightweaver shows Violet and her family mercy, offering employment at his estate rather than enslavement, Violet vows not to forget that he is everything she hates. But as she adjusts to her new role as a kitchen maid at Bloodgrave Manor, she finds that hatred is a curious thing. Arrogant, entitled right hand to the wicked prince, William Castor might be the key to avenging her brother and reclaiming her freedom. But mercy always comes with a price. As Violet hunts the underling responsible for her brother's death, dark secrets threaten to unravel everything she thought she knew about the Nightweavers, herself, and her world. Torn between family, loyalty, and a chance at revenge, the cost of learning the truth about her brother's murder could be her life. So I'm excited. You put pirates in a book, and I'm honestly gonna read it. I just can't help myself. And last but not least, does it need any introduction? This is the book that I'm going to be reading for the last 2 prompts, which are Enemies to Lovers and a Strong Female Character, which come from Pride and Prejudice. So the Enemies to Lovers prompt is from Darcy's quote, "She is tolerable but not handsome enough to tempt me." And then the Strong Female Character prompt is coming from Prejudice, Elizabeth's team, and that is the quote, "My courage always rises at every attempt to intimidate me." So I am going to be reading Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I got this really beautiful edition that I have never read before. I own 2 or 3 copies of this book. I'm honestly not even sure. It's one of my favorite stories, and so I really love it. And this one is so beautiful, and it has extra things in it as well that make it so fun to read. I mean, even the pages are just really pretty. It has some artwork in here as well, like flowers and different things. But it includes things such as Mr. Darcy's letter to Elizabeth. This is an invitation to Miss Bennet from Mr. Bingley. So cute. And it just has little things like that. So I'm very excited to get to this edition. And I'm not going to go into what this is about because it's been around forever and I'm pretty sure everybody knows what it's about. So then we're going to get into the books that are also on my TBR that I'm hoping to get to for the rest of the month that aren't book club or readathon related. So the first one that I'm hoping to get to is This Summer Will Be Different by Carley Fortune. This is Carley Fortune's newest book, and it sounds so good, and I've had 2 friends read this and really love it, and I trust their judgment, so I know that I'm probably going to love it as well. I had a really good time with Every Summer After, which was her first book, and I gave it, I think, 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it. I own her second book, Meet Me at the Lake, but I've heard like not so great things about it, so I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to read it or not, but I'm definitely going to pick this one up. It says, Lucy is the tourist vacationing at a beach house on Prince Edward Island. Felix is the local who shows her a very good time. The only problem, Lucy doesn't know he's her best friend's younger brother. Lucy and Felix's chemistry is unreal, but the list of reasons why they need to stay away from each other is long, and they vow to never repeat that electric night. It's easier said than done. Each year, Lucy escapes to Prince Edward Island for a big breath of coastal air, fresh oysters, and crisp vino verde with her best friend Bridget. Every visit begins with a long walk on the beach beneath soaring red cliffs and a golden sun. And every visit, Lucy promises herself she won't wind up in Felix's bed again. If Lucy can't help being drawn to Felix, at least she's always kept her heart out of it. When Bridget suddenly flees Toronto a week before her wedding, Lucy drops everything to follow her to the island. Her mission is to help Bridget through her crisis and resist the one man she's never been able to. But Felix's sparkling eyes and flirty quips have been replaced with something new, and Lucy's beginning to wonder just how safe her heart truly is. I have a feeling this one is going to break my heart and repair it all at the same time, and I just don't know if I'm ready for it, but we're going to do it anyway. The next book has not come out yet, but I will be going and getting it at Barnes & Noble the day it comes out, and probably starting it the day that it comes out. And that is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This is Sager's newest book. I absolutely love Riley Sager. He's one of my favorite authors. And usually, I don't think I've ever given his book lower than like a 3.5, maybe. And I think that was Lock Every Door. I can't remember, but I really love his writing no matter what, and he's just so entertaining, and he knows how to keep me intrigued till the very last page. In this town, which is called Hemlock Circle, 2 little boys, Ethan and Billy, were best friends. They're 10 years old, and they decided to have a sleepover and camp out in a tent in the backyard. So they go to bed in the tent, and in the morning Ethan wakes up and Billy is gone. And somebody has sliced open the tent with a knife and taken Billy. And we are going 30 years into the future of what happened as Ethan is trying to figure out what happened to his friend. So Ethan comes back to his childhood home and things start happening. He starts having insomnia and not being able to sleep very well. He keeps thinking that he sees Billy, and he also just sees this random stranger that keeps roaming the cul-de-sac around his house. And he doesn't know what is going on, if somebody's playing a prank or if Billy is really back, and it's just chaos. And as Ethan continues to look into what happened to his friend Billy, a lot of things start coming to light, and it's things that he may not necessarily want to know, but that he can't hide from anymore. I just have a really good feeling for this one, and it also sounds like the perfect summer thriller, which I love when Riley does that to us. So thank you, Mr. Sager. And I'm just too excited for this one. The next one is a book that I've had on my shelf for a while. I have tried this author before and didn't quite like what I read, but I've had a few friends tell me that this one is really good and that they think that I would like it and should try it out. So this is me giving this author a second chance to see if maybe I just like some of her stuff and some of it's just not for me. So I'm going to be reading Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I've heard that this one is a really fun and just kind of summery romance book, and I feel like that's what I need this month. It says, growing up the daughter of notorious and notoriously absent treasure hunter Duke Wilder left Lily without much patience for the profession or much money in the bank. Using Duke's hand-drawn maps to guide tourists on treasure hunts through the canyons of Utah pays the bills, but isn't enough to buy back the beloved ranch her father sold years ago, and is definitely not enough to deal with the sight of her first love walking back into her life with a motley crew of friends ready to hit the trails. Leo Grady knew mirages were a thing in the desert. When the silhouette of his greatest regret comes into focus in the flickering light of the campfire, Leo realizes he wants nothing more than to reconnect with his first and only love. Unfortunately, Lily draws a clear line in the sand. It's never going to happen. But when the routine trip goes completely sideways, the group wonders if maybe the legend of the hidden treasure wasn't a gimmick after all. Alone under the stars in the isolated and dangerous mazes of the Canyonlands, Leo and Lily must decide whether they'll risk their lives and hearts on the adventure of a lifetime. I love a good treasure hunt. It sounds so adorable and so fun, and I feel like this is going to be a good palate cleanser for those other books that may be just a little too deep for me. And the last book that I am excited to pick up is one that I've seen people find really funny and kind of related to Grady Hendrix, who is also another favorite author of mine. And I know authors like Nat Cassidy, Rachel Harrison, Darcy Coates, and Maureen Kilmer blurbed this book, so that has me very excited for it. And that is Bless Your Heart by Lindy Ryan. This book is supposed to be like a funny horror book, and again, it's taking place in the South, which when you're in the South, it just reminds you of summer a lot of the time. We don't really get snow down here. We have a lot of hot, springs and summers, and sometimes it even goes into a hot fall. So it's always summer feeling here. It says it's 1999 in Southeast Texas, and the Evans women, owners of the only funeral parlor in town, are keeping steady with normal business. The dead die, you bury them, end of story. That's how Ducey Evans has done it for the last 80 years, and her progeny Lenore the experimenter and Grace, Lenore's soft-hearted daughter, have run Evans' funeral parlor for the last 15 years without drama. Ever since that god-awful mess that left 2 bodies in the ground and Grace raising her infant daughter Luna alone. But when town gossip Mina Jean Murphy's body is brought in for a regular burial and she rises from the dead instead, it's clear that the Strigoi, the original vampires, are back. And the Evans women are the ones who need to fight to protect their town. As more folks turn up dead and Deputy Roger Taylor begins asking way too many questions, Ducey, Lenore, and Grace, and now Luna, must take up their blades and figure out who is behind the Strigoi's return. As the saying goes, what rises up must go back down. But as unspoken secrets and revelations spill from the past into the present, the Evans family must face that sometimes the dead aren't the only things you want to keep buried. It says a cracking mystery horror novel with big-hearted characters and southern charm with a bite. Bless Your Heart is a gasp-worthy delight from start to finish. It just sounds so fun, and again, I love books that are horrific or like horror books that have comedy in them because it just lightens the mood a little bit, and I just feel like this one is going to be a really good read for me and another great palate cleanser between the deep books that I'm reading as well. So those are all the books that I am planning on reading in the month of June. I do have a few that are set aside for if I have time to get to them, but honestly I doubt that I'm gonna have any more time to get to any more books than what I've already picked out. So I'm just gonna hope and pray that I can get through my TBR this month. But again, thank you so much for sticking with me while I took a break and just got my creative side back and got back to doing what I love to do, which is share and talk about books with you all. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.